Hi everyone, my name is Jay Manchanath and I am the founder of Seniors with Skills, and I have prepared a training video for everyone explaining everything you need to know about volunteering with the elderly. So just to give you a little bit of background about Seniors with Skills, we are a 501c3 nonprofit and our mission is to end social isolation of senior citizens. Currently, our main goal with volunteers is to match them to retirement homes within 10 to 20-minute distance of them and to encourage them to run our well-known programs. So part of what we do is getting volunteers directly in touch with activity directors and facilitating that connection and bringing in some of our own original programs, such as the Cards and Knitting program, where volunteers make cards and knit with seniors, and all of those items are then donated to local hospitals. And then we also have our computer training program. So, through our organization, we've matched hundreds of volunteers and we've given thousands of hours of community service. If you are looking for a retirement home to volunteer at and you would like some help, please feel free to email us at volunteering@seniorswithskills.org, and you can visit our website at seniorswithskills.org. So, I get this question a lot because I have volunteered for the past 8 years at over 5 retirement homes. What is it like to volunteer at a retirement home? So, in my experience as a volunteer, I ran a numerous number of volunteer activities within a single retirement home. So, often I would volunteer every Saturday at a retirement home close to my home, and every Saturday I would have a new activity to run. So, this is actually a photo of me running the crossword puzzle, but there's also bingo, Jeopardy, arts and crafts. I would run a technology program, music, and I'd also help out at any big socials or fundraisers the retirement home was hosting. And in terms of what it was like, so oftentimes I would be the only one running a program in front of 10 or 20 residents, and I would essentially lead the program. And it was a really good leadership opportunity. It taught me, how to have patience with the population. It taught me to never give up. It taught me as well to continue being positive and, to positively improve the lives of these seniors and keep them engaged and happy. I really do encourage everyone to try out volunteering in a retirement home. It really is a fulfilling experience, and you'll understand when you get there, how enjoyable it can really be. So now let's just get into how to start volunteering at a retirement home. I feel that this process sometimes can be very cloudy as a lot of retirement homes don't have the exact instructions on their website. It's different from retirement home to retirement home. So I'm just going to kind of give you the general logistics of how it works, and it really does vary depending on the retirement home you go to. But the first step is really getting in touch with the activity director of the retirement home and figuring out how to apply. I genuinely do think that this is the hardest step, and this is one of the reasons Seniors with Skills exists. It is very difficult to get in touch with these activity directors. You really do have to be persistent and consistent when sending emails and giving them phone calls. For phone calls, a lot of the time they won't answer and you can't blame them because they're running activities the whole day. And in terms of emails, when they finally sit down to take a look at their computer, they're flooded with emails, and it's really easy to miss one email from a volunteer. So that's a really difficult process, but once you do get in touch with them and they agree that they need a volunteer, then the process does get more simple and straightforward. Once you made that initial connection, it's really vital to ensure you know how to actually apply. And the reason I'm saying this is every retirement home has their own volunteer screening process. And usually the steps of this process consist of a police check or background check that you can get at your local police station, a two-step tuberculosis test, as well as an application form, an interview, and they might even ask you for your immunization record. So again, depending on the retirement home, you really need to understand which of these screening measures you really need and get started with this, because oftentimes these steps can take a few months depending on how quickly you're moving through the steps. So it's important to know that, just because you suddenly want to go to the retirement home and get started doesn't mean that you'll be able to get started right away. You have to go through these screening measures. So once you finally complete all the screening measures and you're good to go as an official volunteer of the retirement home, you really should discuss with your activity director and make sure you work out the types of programs you feel comfortable running. If you're looking for some inspiration, you can check out the Seniors with Skills programs I mentioned earlier. Um, a lot of the time, I recommend volunteers to shadow the activity director on their first few visits so they have a good lay of the retirement home. They know where to go, they won't get lost, and they kind of know basically how to run the activities so when they're on their own, they're not lost or confused. So once you've kind of had these initial training sessions with the activity director, it's really vital that you create a schedule and stick to it. In my experiences, a lot of our volunteers are college students, high school students, working full time. So a lot of the time, Saturday and Sunday volunteer hours work better. So a lot of our volunteers do once a week on the weekends. And once you create a schedule and stick to it, it really becomes part of your routine and it's easier to remember and it's easier for you to stay organized. So now I'm just going to briefly touch on the importance of commitment. And I really do know this firsthand from volunteering in a retirement home that the activity director is really relying on you to show up on the times, on the days you're scheduled. So you really do need to be on time because a lot of the residents, the senior citizens, their families, they may have been waiting for your activity for an entire week. They may love trivia. They may have been waiting for your activity. And in my past experience, I've seen, a lot of the seniors will come ready 15 minutes before, getting the best seats in the front row of the crossword puzzle. And, if you don't show up, that's actually very sad for them. They've been looking forward to that event, and, it can kind of be a rough start for their day, and you don't want that to happen. And especially if they're used to you coming in, it's just kind of hard for them to adjust if you don't show up. So it's really important that if you have an excused absence, if you can't come for an extracurricular activity at school or, you're sick, you really should let that activity director know as soon as possible. Really, just simply not showing up with no notice is really not acceptable for this kind of volunteer arrangement. And it's just very important for you to be professional at all times. And part of professionalism is ensuring that you are dedicated and committed.